Check out what just happened on CNN. The Democratic Party's so-called leader, Hakeem Jeffries, he tried to hide having a meltdown live and in front of the cameras because red states are outsmarting blue states using the same rules Democrats once abused. This video exposes the hilarious hypocrisy and the absolute projectionism that Jeffries is throwing onto the Republicans and the political desperation that's oozing from every sentence Jeffries managed to stammer out. And his exasperation wasn't just embarrassing. I mean, it was quite revealing. You're going to want to see this. Let's get into it. Hey, guys, welcome back to the channel. Look, we're doing a live stream tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern. We're going to read some stories from the week. We're going to tweak them with a bit of humor, a dash of sarcasm, a whole lot of conservative common sense. Every Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Join us. You'll have a good time. So, Hakeem Jeffries, yes, the leader of the Democratic Party in the House, just threw a tantrum on CNN like a kid denied his toy. What set him off? Red state Republicans playing by the exact same rules Democrats wrote years ago. During a now viral video from CNN, here is Jeffries trying to convince the CNN guy that the Republicans have been a failure for the American people since the beginning of the year. Give it a watch.
This week, I spoke with House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries about the trench warfare.
House Republicans have been a complete and total failure for the American people. They have no credible track record of success. That's why House Republicans are afraid of the voters.
Look, Republicans are a failure. They just passed a big, beautiful bill. How did that get passed if they're a complete and total failure for the American people? Now, what I will say is this. Rasmussen recently said that the Democrats are poised to take the midterms. You think to yourself, wait a minute, how is that even possible? And what he pointed out was that while the Republicans are doing many good things for the American people, many of them don't know it. So while the Democrats are out there lying their bejesus off about everything that the Republicans are doing, the Republicans are not out there doing town halls with their people and doing news programs fully explaining what the big, beautiful bill will do to help them and their families. They need to get the messaging straight and show the American people that this bill will help them get better jobs. The policies that they are passing and pushing, they will help more jobs to come into the United States through trade deals. And also that policies are getting rid of illegal aliens that take away American jobs, stuff like that. All right, let's continue.
In 2026, in the midterm elections, and they're trying to cheat to win.
Cheat to win. I mean, but this is what majorities do. They redraw lines.
I love that this CNN guy is not giving up. He is actually arguing with Hakeem Jeffries. Guys, did you ever think that would happen?
It is completely and totally unprecedented to engage in mid-decade redistricting.
It's completely unprecedented? Are you kidding? Someone get this guy a mirror and a history book. Because the Democrats did the exact same thing under Obama. They took advantage of redistricting. They call it gerrymandering. They took advantage of it mid-decade under Obama. So what are they talking about?
That is only being done because House Republicans in Texas and beyond know they have no track record of success.
This is the same guy that a few weeks ago said that Donald Trump is at the lowest point in his political career with the polls. And I'm scratching my head going, wait a minute. They just said he had 56%, the highest he's ever had. Look, Democrats lie. That's what they do best. Okay, so with all that bloviating out of the way, what's really going on here? Red states, led by actual functioning governments, are redrawing congressional maps and could gain up to 17 new Republican seats in the House. 7 from Texas alone. Florida and Ohio are right behind. You know what that means? It means Democrats can't win the old-fashioned way anymore, and Jeffries knows it. But here's the punchline. Blue states like California and New York are locked into independent redistricting commissions. They wrote those rules themselves, and now they're stuck with them. No do-overs, no quick fixes, no sudden constitutional amendments and changes. That's right. Jeffries is crying foul because his own party built a box that they can't even escape from. Now, here is what is quite possibly the most ridiculous and absurd part of this interview. Jeffries is going to tell you that it's the Republicans who are trying to steal elections and not the Democrats. Like, think about it. We just got the receipts for the Democrats under Obama, where they tried to steal the 2016 election by claiming that Donald Trump only won because the Russians helped him. And they just got slaughtered with realism because all the documents that they classified and hidden were found and declassified. So this is great. Give it a watch.
This is all about in Texas, but we believe it may actually backfire and that they may draw lines that endanger their Republican incumbent.
Guys, what he's doing is bullshitting you. That's what he's doing.
So it sounds like you think you can get back in the majority, even if they succeed in Texas.
We are going to be successful regardless of what they do in Texas. But the principle of free and fair elections is one that we should fight for. And these Republicans are trying to disenfranchise millions of voters in Texas as part of a scheme to rig the midterm elections.
Are you kidding me? The reason why the Democrats lost so big time in 2024 as opposed to 2020 is because after the 2020 debacle that they stole the election. There's no question in my mind. But after that, a lot of states put in election integrity laws, which made it easier to vote, but harder to cheat. I mean, think about it, guys. Why are Democrats so against voter ID? Because then they can't cheat. They can't cheat if you got to prove who you are at the ballot box. That's why they're against it. Let me tell you something. Mark Elias, Perkins Coie lawyer, who is the Democrats' wunderkind when they want to steal an election, okay? So he went around bragging that in 2020, that what he did was he went into courts. He took his legal teams into courts in the swing states, and he got the courts to change election laws. He did that in my state of Pennsylvania, okay? He got the Supreme Court to change election law, where the state legislature, the Republican state legislature, made the law for mail-in ballots to say that the deadline for accepting any mail-in ballots was 8 p.m. election day night. And he got the Supreme Court, which does not have the authority to do so, but they changed election law to say 3 more days. Now, the reason why? Because the Democrats had to know how many ballots they had to rig and fake in order to beat Trump. That's why they did it. And he wants to talk about shenanigans going on with redistricting. Let me tell you something. When Governor Wolf, a Democrat, wanted to do redistricting, the state legislature said, nah, we're fine with it because they were Republicans. Now, our Constitution in the state doesn't say that you have to do redistricting. You don't have to if you don't want to, if you're a state legislature, and they didn't want to. So Wolf took it to the courts. Again, what the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, which is ruled 7-2, I believe, Democrats, it's ruled by Democrats, okay? What they did is not only did they say, yeah, you got to redistrict, no, they redistrict for the Democratic Party. They actually did it in favor of the Democratic Party. And they don't have the right to do that. Article 1, Section 4 says that only the state legislature has the right to do election laws. So I don't want to hear another thing out of Jeffries' mouth about redistricting. Look, the parties that are in power gerrymander to their favor. Doesn't matter whether they're Democrats or Republicans. But the Republicans right now are taking advantage of the stupidity of the Democrats by linking themselves into those independent commissions. The Republicans didn't do it. Why shouldn't they take advantage of it? Here's another rich one. He's talking about they want fair elections.
There's talk now among Democrats of responding in kind, including in California. Up to 5 seats, we are hearing about this. Are you supportive of this effort in California, changing lines in California to respond to what's going on in Texas?
I'm going to let the governor of California speak for himself and the people of California, as well as the leaders of the California delegation. But in my view, all options are on the table in terms of making sure that there are fair maps throughout the country.
Now, let me tell you something. What he's basically saying, guys, is that when the Republicans do this, they're doing it to cheat in elections. But when we do it, we're doing it because we want fair elections. You got to be kidding. Give me a break. These are the same Democrats who in multiple states tried to get Trump kicked off their ballot on a phony argument about the 14th Amendment. They threw multiple lawfare cases at local, state, and federal levels against Trump so that he couldn't run. And they want to talk about fair elections? Are you kidding me? Here's where Jeffries tries to tell us that those wascally Republicans are trying to take over New York and California.
There's talk now among Democrats of responding in kind, including in California. Up to 5 seats, we are hearing about this. Are you supportive of this effort?
In other words, they're doing the exact same thing that he's complaining right now about Republicans doing. You got to love this guy. He's CNN, guys. I love him.
California, changing lines in California to respond to what's going on in Texas?
I'm going to let the governor of California
Listen to this
speak
bullshit
for
response.
himself and the people of California, as well as the leaders of the California delegation. But in my view, all options are on the table in terms of making sure that there are fair maps throughout the country. The people of Texas are at risk of not having fair maps. We have a responsibility
What he means by fair maps is that it's not rigged enough for the Democrats.
of making sure that we look at every single state of the union and do what we can to
Can you not tell that he's full of crap, that he's ad-libbing here?
ensure that we maximize fairness in those jurisdictions.
Wouldn't that be a risk, though, in California, because you have to go through a ballot initiative to change the law? Is that a risk if Democrats go down that route?
That's an open question, and it's my understanding that some of the best and brightest lawyers in the country are looking at every single aspect.
Guys, he's ad-libbing. He has no idea what he's saying. He's just saying anything to make it sound like Democrats good, Republicans bad. He did not believe that a CNN guy would push him.
Of what's possible in these states throughout America.
In New York, I've talked to some members of your delegation, Democrats who want New York to change the maps, to try to add seats, Democratic seats.
In other words, well, you're in New York. You guys are trying to do the same thing. What do you think?
In New York, would you support that effort in your state?
Let me just simply say the maps in New York are not as fair as they could be.
Not as fair as they could be. Well, whose fault is that? Are there any Republicans in New York that could make a difference? New York is a single party state, pretty much.
That sounds to me like you're open to changing it before.
I look forward to having a conversation with.
Yeah, so it's okay when you do it. That's the whole thing. The Democrats. It's okay when we do it.
The governor about how do we ensure that New York maps are as fair as possible in an environment.
How can the New York maps be unfair to Democrats? Guys, he's full of crap.
Where you've got extreme MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump doing everything they can to undermine the will of the voters and undermine the principle of free and fair elections.
You've got to be kidding me, because the state legislature is what is in charge. That's Article 1, Section 4. State legislatures are in charge of everything election law. So now he just said MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump are trying to make everything unfair. It's impossible. He's lying. Plain and simple. He's lying to you. So basically what he said this whole interview is when the Republicans play the game well, it's cheating. When Democrats cheat, it's saving democracy. Let that sink in. Jeffries couldn't answer a single question without circling back to whining. And it gets better. He flat out admitted Democrats want to redraw the maps. Think about it. We just heard it. They just can't. Their hands are tied by their own virtue signaling laws. What does this mean in real terms? It means Democrats are about to be locked out of power for a very long time. Even CNN couldn't spin this one. They pressed. He panicked. The media bubble popped and Jeffries was exposed, naked, flailing, furious. Let's take a step back. Ready? Because this isn't just about one guy. This is about a party in total collapse. A new poll from Quinnipiac shows congressional Democrats sitting at just 19% approval. Guys, that's catastrophic. CNN's own poll pegs them at 29%. But think about it. Even Democrat voters are over it. Just a year ago, 60% were optimistic. Now only 1/3 still believe in the party. That's what you call mass abandonment. In Florida, Democrat leaders are calling their own party dead. Working class support from Democrats, gone. Young men, 60% are now backing Republicans. Minority communities, drifting to the right. And with Republicans gaining seats through redistricting, the meltdown we just saw from Jeffries is just the beginning. Here's the takeaway. Democrats played themselves. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. They wrote the rules, locked themselves in a cage of fake fairness, And now they're throwing tantrums because they can't rig the game anymore. Jeffries gave the game away on live television. Republicans, they're just getting started, because while Democrats scream something bigger is moving, I mean, think about it. The map is shifting, the power is flipping, and the meltdown on CNN was just the first tremor. So what's the upside? Well, it's simple. The Democrats are cracking under the weight of their own hypocrisy. The redistricting tide is turning. Voters are waking up, and Republicans are poised to seize the moment. The Jeffries meltdown is a symptom of a party in retreat. Everything he said today in this interview was a lie. And that, my friends, is very good news for America, because the American people aren't buying his lies anymore. All right, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.